Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Join us as we dive into the world of Disastrous Necromancer, where we'll unravel the mysteries of Lin Moyu's quest to become the strongest. From hidden secrets to epic battles, we're here to give you an exclusive look at the story before anyone else. If you're a fan of fantasy, necromancers, or just love a good adventure, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, comment, and share to support the channel, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chapter. Let's start the journey.
Title: Message from Meng Amwen.
One must say, Wang Xing is quite a tactful person. Lin Moyu could feel that he actually wanted to chat with him. Or rather, he wanted to build a relationship with him. However, he was very measured. After seeing that Lin Moyu wanted to go to the ancient battlefield, he did not insist on keeping him. He just said that when he returned, he could visit him at the Wang family. At the same time, he confirmed whether Lin Moyu had joined the Rune Master Association. After confirming that he had not, he might introduce him. Lin Moyu was also somewhat interested in the Rune Master Association. As one of the top organizations in the Divine City, its members were all Rune Masters. Moreover, these Rune Masters were deeply rooted and came from different families. Lin Moyu thought that the head of the Rune Master Association should be the ancestor Shu. But these were not his concerns. What he cared about were the materials in the Rune Master Association. There were many rune materials that could not be found outside. If possible, he wanted to take a good look. However, there was no rush. Runes were a vast subject, and mastering them was not a matter of a day or two. Now, he wanted to go to the ancient battlefield. Just now, when he was killing the evil spirit, he obtained some information. When the evil spirit died, its soul scattered, and countless memories were dispersed. From these memories, he saw a huge rune. This rune seemed to be an ancient rune, but it also did not look like an ancient rune. The key was that this rune had two colors, gray and white, which were very similar to his undead law. At the moment he saw the rune, Lin Moyu felt a strange sense of familiarity. So he wanted to go and see what was going on. In the Divine City Star region, besides many secret realms, there were also many ancient battlefields scattered around. No one could explain the origin of the ancient battlefields, only that they had a long history. As for whether they came from ancient times, no one knew. It was once said that the ancient battlefields were left behind after the coalition of 100 races attacked the human race in the near ancient period. But that was over 100,000 years ago, and the survivors of that time were almost all dead. The lifespan of those in the other shore realm was generally around 50,000 years, and even fewer survived back then. However, the danger level of the ancient battlefields was far less than that of the secret realms. Over time, the ancient battlefields became places for those below the God-King level to explore. Some ancient battlefields even had corresponding tasks, but those tasks only provided points and no Divine City merits. Occasionally, someone would gain something from the ancient battlefields. Even if there were no gains, there would be no losses. There were many ruins in the ancient battlefields that people could admire. From them, one could see how intense the battles were back then. There were maps in the Human Emperor network, and Lin Moyu followed the map's guidance to find the direction of the 12,301 ancient battlefield. It was called the 12,301 ancient battlefield because it was under the jurisdiction of the 12,301 star system. The distance between the two was less than 1 billion kilometers. At Lin Muyu's speed, it would take less than 2 hours to fly there. Even those in the true God realm would only need a day or two. Soon, an ancient battlefield floating in the void came into view. Standing in front of the ancient battlefield, Lin Moyu carefully observed. The so-called ancient battlefield was actually a star that had been severely damaged. However, this large star was very sturdy, obviously having been modified and refined. It had been transformed from an ordinary star into an extremely sturdy war fortress. Although it had been severely damaged, one could still feel its strong pressure. This pressure was not weaker than that of a god sovereign and carried a sense of desolation that even time could hardly erase. If it were still intact and in its prime, it was hard to imagine its combat power. Lin Moyu had an illusion that it might be able to fight against those in the other shore realm. Compared to that era, our current era is really weak. Lin Moyu couldn't help but sigh. It wasn't self-deprecation, it was a fact. Even those big shots in the other shore realm had to admit this. In ancient times, the number of those in the other shore realm far exceeded the current number. Occasionally, there would even be beings that surpassed the other shore realm. But now, the other shore realm was the peak. There might be higher levels of power, but they were no longer easily attainable. It seemed that the world had changed, introducing some restrictions that limited the level of power. Compared to 1 million years ago, the current world was weak. In the next second, Lin Muyu appeared on the ancient battlefield. Kicking the severely damaged star, Lin Muyu felt a bit emotional. War had always been the most brutal. War could make an era more prosperous, but it could also lead an era to its demise. Future generations often wouldn't know what exactly happened in that era. They could only search for the truth from the remnants left behind. Just like the land beneath his feet. In Lin Muyu's perception, it had experienced a long history, no less than ancient times. He lifted his foot and stomped down hard. With a dull sound, no cracks appeared. The power of Lin Muyu's stomp was immense, enough to shatter a star. But this land remained unscathed. However, this feeling was different from the mysterious manor and the ancient tomb, which were made of that black material. The sturdiness of that material could be felt. It was truly indestructible. But here, Lin Muyu felt that the power of his stomp was absorbed. The entire ancient battlefield seemed like a sponge, absorbing all his power. It was hard to say which was better. Their common feature was that with his current power, he couldn't damage them. It was precisely because of this that the ancient battlefield had remained in its original state for countless years. Walking on the ancient battlefield, one could see the already abandoned buildings. The buildings had been shattered, leaving only ruins. This was cut by a sharp weapon. This was smashed by a fist. This should be some kind of special blunt weapon. Lin Muyu looked at the remaining marks on the broken parts, making speculations and analyses. Why are there no ancient battlefields in the 4-star domains? Was the Great War back then only fought in the Divine City Star region? It shouldn't be. A war of this magnitude should have affected the entire world. Or did the big shots in the other shore realm move all the ancient battlefields to the Divine City Star region? It's not impossible. The remaining aura in the ancient battlefield was very strong, reaching the level of a god king in many places. In this environment, those in the true god realm would find it difficult to move. This was after countless years of erosion. If it were in its prime, it would at least be at the peak god sovereign level. One could imagine how terrifying the battles on the ancient battlefield were. Lin Muyu looked at the scenes in the ancient battlefield, his thoughts somewhat chaotic. He sorted out everything he knew, including what Wu Shengzhen, Zhu Qiwu, and Zhu Tian had said. The timeline was divided into 4 clear points. The primordial era, the ancient era, the near ancient era, and the current era. The near ancient era was ended by Shao Zhanshan, who created the current era. Strong beings from various races were all seeking information from the ancient era. This showed that from the ancient era to the near ancient era, nothing major happened. But when did the ancient battlefield appear? Lin Muyu tried to find information about the ancient battlefield from the Human Emperor Network, but found nothing. The information about the ancient battlefield in the Human Emperor Network was very scarce and vague. Could it be older than the ancient era? It can't be the primordial era, that's too ancient. The primordial era was just a concept, not pointing to a specific time. Basically, anything older than the ancient era could be called the primordial era. In the core area, outside the flames, the big shots of the other shore realm were drinking tea and chatting. A strong figure from the other shore realm returned from the ancient ruins, bringing back some Dao tea. Then these big shots, like bees attracted to the scent of tea, all swarmed over. A high-level tea party began in such a casual and relaxed manner. A dozen big shots, without any image, posed in various positions in the void. All the elegance and dignity were thrown away at this moment. In the other shore realm, they emphasized being carefree and doing whatever felt comfortable. Moreover, with their status, who would dare to make them follow rules? Lin Muyu, that kid, has entered the ancient battlefield. Finally went. I wonder what he will discover. Probably won't find much. The valuable things in the ancient battlefield have already been scavenged, only some scraps are left. I'm not talking about that. I'm also a bit curious. We have never figured out the era of the ancient battlefield. I hope the kid can find something. The ancient battlefield should be related to the Great War of the ancient times, but it seems a bit different. Chaos, it's really chaotic. The chaos of the ancient battlefield, I can't figure it out even if I rack my brains. I can only drink 3 cups of Dao tea to calm down. If you want to drink more, just say it, don't make excuses. Lin Muyu was also a bit confused at this moment. He felt the passage of time, but many things in the ancient battlefield did not match the era. Some buildings were very modern, completely unlike ancient times. But they carried the aura of time, and Lin Muyu could be 100% sure that they had experienced a long history. This created a strong sense of conflict, making Lin Muyu unable to understand for a moment. It's really strange. Why is it like this? Unconsciously, Lin Muyu walked to an open square. A strong murderous aura rushed towards him, giving Lin Moyu the illusion of a battlefield. It was as if there had been a pre-battle assembly here, with generals above and soldiers below, ready to march with sharp swords. Looking into the distance, beyond the huge square, he saw a collapsed tower. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed sharply, and with one step, he appeared in front of the tower. His eyes were filled with disbelief. How could it be? How could it be? This is the Shenxia Tower. How could the Shenxia Tower appear here? Lin Moyu couldn't believe what he was seeing. Why was Meng Anwen's Shenxia Tower here? This was absolutely impossible. The Shenxia Tower was modeled after the ancient Lei Tower, and the ancient Lei Tower was just a war treasure of the true God realm. With Lin Moyu's current realm, he could destroy the ancient Lei Tower with a single finger. Any skeleton god warrior could destroy the ancient Lei Tower. Not to mention the Shenxia Tower, which was modeled after it. It couldn't even be considered a treasure, just a toy. But in front of him, the Shenxia Tower really appeared. Lin Moyu couldn't be mistaken. He had entered the Shenxia Tower many times and seen it many times. It was impossible to be mistaken. At that time, 3 towers were made based on the ancient Lei Tower. They were the Trial Tower, the Shenxia Tower, and the Demon Extermination Tower. The Trial Tower was always in the hands of the Shenxia Empire, used to train newcomers. The Shenxia Tower was in Meng Anwen's hands, and the Demon Extermination Tower was obtained by himself, but he didn't take it when he left the small world. But what was the Shenxia Tower in front of him? Lin Moyu had the urge to return to the small world to take a look, but he knew it was unrealistic. He carefully observed the Shenxia Tower in front of him and gradually found something wrong. Although the 2 towers were almost identical, the Shenxia Tower in front of him was obviously simpler. In terms of strength, the Shenxia Tower in front of him far exceeded the one in Meng Anwen's hands. But it was indeed simpler than Meng Anwen's Shenxia Tower. In his eyes, it could be considered a replica of the Shenxia Tower. A replica stronger than the original, and not just by a little. It was incredible to think about. In addition, Lin Moyu found another point. This Shenxia Tower had various modern traces, except for the Ore of Time. It did not have the appearance of an ancient building. Different eras had vastly different architectural styles. The sense of temporal dislocation made Lin Moyu feel a headache. I can't figure it out. He gently patted his head. Unable to figure it out, he could only temporarily put it aside. A buzzing sound came from the broken Shenxia Tower, the sound of wind hitting the walls. There was wind inside? This was the starry sky, a silent starry sky. How could there be wind? There were many stellar winds, flying around with the light, enough to kill ordinary people. The sound of the wind seemed like a call, arousing Lin Moyu's curiosity. The Shenxia Tower was already broken, empty inside, with no roof on top. The whole tower had become a ruin. There were still many runes on the walls, but they had lost their power. The runes were connected, originally forming various formations, but now they had lost their function. Everything was so broken. The sound of the wind came again, not just a sound. This time there was really wind blowing, moving his hair. Come. Come. A voice called from a dark corner. Lin Moyu looked towards the sound and saw a deep, dark hole in the corner. His gaze penetrated the deep hole. Immediately, Lin Moyu's pupils contracted, showing an expression of disbelief, even more shocked than before. Lin Moyu considered himself calm, rarely shocked. He could handle anything calmly. But today's shock was hard to suppress, even for him. He saw many runes, many basic runes. No, compared to the basic runes he mastered, these were even more basic. In his eyes, these runes were extremely simple, but very familiar. They were the runes often used by Meng Anwen in the small world. Meng Anwen used these extremely simple runes to form various formations. Under Meng Anwen's control, the Shenxia Tower had the ability to turn decay into magic. The runes in the small world were completely different from those in the big world. Why were the runes Meng Anwen was good at appearing here? Combined with the replica Shenxia Tower, the shock was unimaginable for Lin Moyu. He even began to doubt this world. Before Lin Moyu could figure it out, the runes suddenly exploded. A black shadow shattered the runes and pounced. The black shadow opened its huge mouth, revealing a red tongue and sharp silver teeth. Lin Moyu's body shone with brilliant golden light, activating the God King golden body, and punched out. The golden fist collided with the silver fangs, and a massive force exploded. The already ruined Shenxia Tower shook violently but did not collapse. Lin. The materials used in the ancient battlefield's buildings were quite sturdy, though not as strong as the black material in the mysterious manner, but still very strong. At least Lin Moyu couldn't destroy them. The silver fangs shattered, and the black shadow retreated quickly with a piercing roar. Lin Moyu stepped forward in an instant, and his golden fist struck again. A beam of golden light pierced through the dark starry sky, through the black shadow, and directly pinned it to the ground. A large hole appeared in the black shadow's body, penetrating from front to back. However, the black shadow did not stop. It ignored the wound on its body and pounced again, opening its mouth to bite. Under the golden light, Lin Moyu saw the true face of the black shadow. It was an evil spirit, formed by countless resentments, obsessions, and some soul fragments fused together. Evil spirits have no intelligence or consciousness, they only have instinct. Their sole purpose is to kill, attacking any living being they encounter. The one hidden in the rune blade earlier was an evil spirit. The evil spirit in front of him had clearly absorbed the souls of beasts, which is why it had evolved into a beast-like form. Its level was not high, only at the 7th level of the true god realm. Lin Moyu's few punches had already shattered the evil spirit. However, Lin Moyu also knew that evil spirits are difficult to truly eliminate. Even if shattered, as long as the ancient battlefield remains and the obsessions and resentments persist, the evil spirit could regenerate after some time. The runes scattered by the evil spirit had also disappeared. Lin Moyu sighed lightly, recalling everything that had just happened, as if it were a dream. Meng Anwen couldn't possibly appear here, but the impossible had indeed happened. It was indescribably eerie. The events of ancient times were already strange enough, but at least there were traces to follow, allowing one to clear their thoughts. The events of the ancient battlefield, however, completely disrupted his thoughts, even affecting Lin Moyu's worldview. After much contemplation, Lin Moyu felt it was still due to his insufficient strength. Perhaps when his realm reached a certain height, these seemingly strange things would no longer seem strange. Putting all doubts aside for now, to be pondered in the future. Following the pitch-black cave, Lin Moyu gradually entered the interior of the ancient battlefield. The internal structure of the ancient battlefield was somewhat peculiar, with countless passages. No one knew what the interior of the ancient battlefield was used for. Some speculated it was an armory, others said it was for logistics, and some even said it was a resting place for warriors. No matter the speculation, there were always unreasonable aspects. Seeing is believing, and everyone believed what they saw, including Lin Moyu. What others said didn't matter, what mattered was that he had to see for himself what was inside. In the pitch-black cave, all light was lost. Lin Moyu wielded the undying flame and summoned the skeleton god warriors. The gray light of the undying flame shone on the skeleton god warriors, turning their white bones into mirrors, reflecting more light and illuminating more areas. The passages inside the ancient battlefield were not narrow. Most areas were about 5 meters high and wide. In the passages, whether on the sides, the top, or even the ground, there were numerous runes. These runes had lost their divine power, leaving only their shapes. The runes had lost their function. As Lin Moyu walked, he examined the runes. Some were slightly complex, while others were quite simple. The runes here all belonged to the big world, with no traces of the small world. Most of the runes were familiar to Lin Moyu, as they were recorded in the rune language. Each had its own function, but some had no substantial effect. About 60% of the runes are basic runes. 20% are advanced runes, and the remaining 20% are composite runes. Lin Moyu observed carefully, and suddenly his heart moved. Is this a rune array? The runes in the passage were not chaotic but arranged in a certain order. Although many parts of the passage had been destroyed, Lin Moyu could still discern the arrangement. The key was that he had seen this arrangement before. In the first layer of the 4-star domain competition, outside the Soulfire rune, the array that could simulate living beings used a similar arrangement. At that time, he didn't understand runes well, so he couldn't comprehend it. Now it was completely different. Upon careful reflection, the two indeed had many similarities. His heart moved, and a large number of skeleton god warriors rushed out, searching for paths in the dark passage. The passages were interconnected, more complex than a spider's web. Unfortunately, many places had collapsed in the great battle, making them impassable. Even with Lin Moyu's abilities, it was difficult to clear these damaged areas. He could only choose the paths that were passable. Gradually, a map formed in his mind. The map was incomplete, with many missing parts, but it was enough. Indeed, it is a rune array. And it is that array. Lin Moyu immediately realized that the human race's array was an imitation of this one. The ancient battlefield was the source of that array. The rune masters of the human race had forged the array based on the rune array left in the ancient battlefield. However, due to the severe damage to the ancient battlefield, many key parts were missing, so the imitation array was not perfect. Lin Moyu's eyes showed contemplation. If the array in the ancient battlefield were complete, it could create more powerful warriors and endow them with intelligence, making their combat power unimaginably strong. The imitation and incomplete array can simulate beings at the God-Sovereign level. Could the complete array simulate beings at the other shore level? If so, and the ancient battlefield was still defeated, the strength of the opponents. Lin Moyu was slightly tongue-tied. If his speculation was correct, the strength of the opponents had reached an unimaginable level. Perhaps it was at the level of the owner of the severed finger outside the Divine City Star region. Lin Moyu felt that things were becoming increasingly complex. In those unrecorded years, something unknown must have happened. What exactly happened was impossible to trace. Lin Moyu's eyes suddenly brightened. Right, there is the law of time. If I can master the law of time, could I see what happened in the past? The true vision technique can predict the future through the law of fate. Then I should be able to view the past directly through the law of time. When I become a God Sovereign, I will choose the law of time as my second law. Curiosity got the better of him, making Lin Moyu decide between the law of space and the law of time. But for now, Lin Moyu decided to carefully record the rune array in the ancient battlefield. The skeleton god warriors continued to search for paths, discovering more and more passages, each filled with numerous runes. The rune array used the ancient battlefield as its base, directly setting up the array inside. Such a grand scale was beyond Lin Moyu's current capabilities. It could only be said that the mastery of runes and the control of rune arrays had reached an astonishing level. Lin Moyu even felt that the ancestor Shu of the other shore realm was not as skilled. Unfortunately, many of the runes were severely damaged, with at least half destroyed. Some array nodes, which should have contained materials, were now empty. Either they were destroyed in battle or taken away after the battle.